You check your bank account, and for a second, you feel okay. The paycheck hit. The number is green. But then the real weight hits your chest. You look at your calendar, your mounting credit card balance, and the mortgage payment looming like a predator in the dark. For a moment, you feel like you're winning. Then reality strikes. Because deep down, this isn't freedom. You've been trading your most precious asset, your time, for a lifestyle that is slowly drowning you. Every promotion, every raise, every fancy title. It feels like climbing a ladder, doesn't it? But what if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall? What if everything you've been taught about climbing the corporate ladder is actually a blueprint for a trap? You aren't building wealth. You're building a cage. And here's the part nobody tells you. The bars are made of your own ambition. You're working harder, faster, and longer, yet somehow you're further behind than when you started. It's a quiet desperation that keeps you awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering if this is really all there is. But what if I told you the system isn't broken? What if I told you it's working exactly as designed? And what happens next? It changes everything. You think you're in control because you're the one typing the emails. You're the one staying late to hit those quarterly KPIs. But look closer. The system isn't designed to pay you for your worth. It's designed to pay you just enough to keep you compliant, yet just little enough to keep you hungry. It's a delicate balance of carrot and stick. They call it a career path. I call it a treadmill with a view. You spend your 20s believing that if you work twice as hard, you'll get twice as far. Then you hit your 30s and you realize the math doesn't add up. Inflation is eating your raises before they even hit your bank account. The cost of living is rising faster than your title. And that financial security you were chasing, it's a mirage. Every time you get close enough to touch it, the goalpost moves. It's not an accident. It's the architecture of the middle-class trap. Most people spend their entire lives chasing a finish line that doesn't exist. They save. They invest in the same index funds. They follow the same safe advice, hoping that one day they can finally exhale. But here is the hard truth nobody mentions at the water cooler. True wealth isn't found in your paycheck. It's found in what you do after the paycheck is gone. And if you don't change your relationship with debt, you'll be a servant to it until the day you retire. You might think your debt is just a mistake. Maybe you bought a car that was too expensive, or you leaned too hard on credit cards when times were thin. But here is the uncomfortable truth. You aren't just in debt. You are part of an industrial-grade machine designed to convert your life force into interest payments. It's not just about the math. It's about the psychological programming. Think about it. From the moment you land your first real job, you're taught to value your credit score above your actual net worth. You're taught that debt is a tool, a leverage, a path to the good life. But watch closely. The system rewards you for borrowing, but it penalizes you for saving. Every month, a portion of your soul is siphoned off to satisfy a creditor you've never met. You're working for the bank, for the lender, for the corporate structure, and you're doing it with a smile because they've convinced you it's art success cut. But take a look at your life. Are you buying things you need? Or are you buying things to numb the exhaustion of the life you're trapped in? The cycle is designed to be invisible. It's built into your commute, your subscriptions, your taxes, and your expectations. And the more you succeed by their metrics, the deeper the trap pulls you in. But what happens if you stop? What if you decide the game isn't worth the price of admission? You feel it now, don't you? That heavy, sinking feeling that you're playing a game you were never meant to win. You've been running toward a horizon that keeps moving. Every level up in your career, that promotion, that new car, that bigger apartment, is just another weight added to your ankles. You were told this was the path to security. But look around you. The people who are winning by society's standards, they're just as stressed, just as leveraged, and just as terrified of losing it all as you are. The illusion is starting to crack. You've spent years perfecting the art of the 9-to-5, becoming a master at tasks that don't actually serve your future. You've become an expert at maintaining a lifestyle that requires you to stay trapped. It's a brilliant trap, really. It uses your own vanity, your own fear of judgment, and your own desire for safety to keep you locked in. But here's the secret the system prays you never discover. The moment you realize the game is rigged, you stop being a player and start being an observer. You stop needing to win their game and start building your own. But it's not enough to just realize it. You have to be willing to do the one thing the system fears most. You have to be willing to stop performing. And once you stop performing, the fear starts to fade. But what replaces it? That's where the real danger and the real opportunity begins. You've reached the point of no return. You see the machinery now, the debt-fueled cycles, the social conditioning, the endless treadmill, and you're terrified. That's good. Fear is just your mind waking up to the reality that you've been sleepwalking. Most people spend their lives avoiding this fear. numbing it with more consumption or more work. But you're going to use it. You're going to pivot from being a consumer to being a strategist. It starts with a brutal audit of your life. Not just your finances, but your time. What are you actually buying? Is it freedom, or is it just the appearance of success? You have to strip away the vanity expenses, the status purchases that exist solely to impress people you don't even like. This isn't about deprivation. It's about reallocation. You are moving capital from a system that feeds off your debt and into a system that works for your autonomy. It feels uncomfortable to cut the cords. It feels like you're losing status. But that's the point. You are trading the illusion of wealth for the mechanics of power. Every dollar you keep is a soldier in your army of independence. Every debt you pay off is a brick pulled out of your cage. But listen, once you start, the system will fight back. It will offer you a better deal, a higher salary, another promotion to keep you locked in. That's the test. Are you really ready to trade their game for your own? Now the real work begins. You've stopped the bleeding, but you haven't won the war. Most people take the money they saved and let it sit in a bank account, losing value every single day to inflation. That's not control. That's just a different kind of waiting. You have to understand the difference between saving and deploying. Money is a tool, not a trophy. If you're just stacking cash, you're still a victim of the system. You're just a more liquid one. You need to transition from working for money to making your money work. This is where most people get scared, because this is where the risk is real. But compare that risk to the guarantee of staying where you are. Staying in the debt trap is a guaranteed loss of your life's potential. Investing in your own autonomy, that's a path to a life you actually own. You start small. You learn about assets, not just expenses. You stop chasing the big score and start building a foundation of cash-flowing assets that exist independently of your labor. You are no longer trading your time for a paycheck. You are trading your capital for freedom. It feels lonely at first. You'll look at your peers, still chasing the next promotion, still drowning in the same debt, and you'll realize how far apart you've drifted. They are playing for status. You are playing for sovereignty. And once you experience the peace of having your own leverage, you will never ever go back to being a gear in their machine. Here is the paradox. The more you succeed at building your own foundation, the less you care about the traditional markers of success. The corner office, it looks like a prison cell. The luxury lease, it looks like an anchor. Your peers will ask why you aren't stepping up, or why you're suddenly turning down those opportunities. They don't understand that you aren't stepping down, you're stepping out. You've realized that the greatest risk isn't failing to get ahead. It's spending your finite time winning a race that doesn't matter. You start to see time differently. You stop measuring your life in billable hours and start measuring it in autonomy. That Friday afternoon when you're not trapped in a meaningless meeting. That's not a day off. That's a victory. You're no longer a participant in the debt trap economy. You're an architect of your own ecosystem. And yes, it's quiet. There are no applause or performance bonuses for choosing your own path. But there is something better. The sound of a life that is truly your own. You've traded the anxiety of the next promotion for the stillness of self-reliance. And as the noise of the corporate world fades, you finally hear yourself thinking. You realize that you didn't just escape a financial trap. You escaped a psychological one. And that is the point of no return. You check your bank account. And for a second, you feel okay. But it's not because the number is high. It's because you realize that number no longer owns you. You look at your life, the work, the choices, the freedom, and for the first time, the weight is gone. You aren't just surviving the system. You've outgrown it. You remember that version of yourself from years ago, the one stressed in the dark, checking the balance, fearing the trap. That person was you, but they were also a stranger. You've moved from desperation to clarity. You've replaced the latter with a path of your own design. The system is still there, of course. The machines are still running. But you're no longer a gear. You're the observer. And that realization, that's the ultimate currency. Because once you know that your time is worth more than a paycheck, and your freedom is worth more than their status, you have already won. You aren't climbing anymore. You're walking. And for the first time in your life, you're finally truly free. The trap didn't change. You did. And that changes everything.